Hello everyone and welcome back to a very delayed Q&A. This is the July Q&A, which usually comes out at the beginning of July, and now it's coming out in the middle of August. Even though we technically missed this, we're still going to do it and just do kind of like more fast-paced releases on this Q&A. So if you have an interesting question that you'd like to ask, go ahead and ask it. You're going to be getting the August Q&A much sooner than normal. Even though technically you should have had the August Q&A a little while ago, but it's coming, so just hold on with us. We've got a collection of questions from you guys today. As always, if you want to know what the previous questions were from all of the other videos, they are in a link down below. Also wanted to note that the questions you guys asked were really good. Too good. In fact, we could have made 2 videos from all of the questions, but we tried to keep it to 10 or 11 questions. So if you asked something and it was not answered this month, consider asking it again, because we may just get to it for the next video. Anyway, without further ado, first up, what do you do with duplicate games? From WolfieXp. This is probably because last month we talked a little bit about our game collection. Sometimes we wind up with duplicate games either because we'll own something and then we'll get like a Craigslist lot where we get a lot of different games and we have duplicates. Sometimes you guys send us duplicates. We try to avoid that. We have a, our list online of all of the games we have, so we want you guys to be able to check that and say, oh, they have, Banjo-Kazooie. I shouldn't send that to them because we don't want your duplicates. But if we get your duplicates for whatever reason, we generally trade them in. We take them to our local game store and we basically turn the game that we already had into a game that we didn't have because we are collecting games. So if you guys send us a duplicate, whether it be on purpose or otherwise, it's probably going to get turned into some other game that we didn't already have. From Rudrake, do you worry about job security with YouTube? I mean, it's a concern, but it's not something I actively worry about. It's not like every day I wake up and I'm like, oh God, today's gonna be the day. Google's gonna introduce the final straw and destroy everything. I mean, certainly that they've introduced things in the past that have made my life a little bit more difficult, but I think online entertainment as a whole is going to continue to progress.
And change.
Yeah, you just have to be willing to adapt. So I'm hoping that I can continue to adapt, is really what it comes down to. And I think I can. But I also don't think that I'll be doing this forever because I don't know if I'll be able to stay in it forever. So when that happens, I would like to pursue teaching video. I love video. I want to stay in video as long as I can. So I think I would probably go into teaching that if I could, like at a high school level. Anyway, and now a question you can answer because you've been so quiet. This is a question from Date, and he asked, or she asked, they asked, why do you eat cupcakes with a fork?
Because I don't have to have it all over my hands then? Whenever
we did, it's not even just one video. There's been a few videos where we've shown ourselves eating cupcakes, and a lot of times we eat them with a fork. And I have been so flabbergasted by how many people came out of the woodworks and were like, why are you eating that with a fork? And I'm like, is this seriously like this big of a thing? In my mind, I know we might have slightly different answers, but you might agree with me. In my mind, there's like 2 very different types of cupcakes. There is like a cupcake that you get at like a birthday party, you're like, ah. And then there's like a really fancy gourmet cupcake. They're generally a little bit bigger. I eat those with a fork. Because, I mean, like Mal said, I don't want to get my hands all messy. Like, if I'm at a party eating a cupcake, I'm like,
you don't like to fall apart all over the table.
They're big. I can put like a cupcake down in like 1 or 2 bites. Like, but one of the gourmet ones, they're big, and they're not. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to enjoy them. I mean, I guess you could do it by holding it, but I like taking a fork and taking my time. I don't think it's that unusual. Like. It's not like against the law to eat them with your hands, but given the option, I'd rather use a fork.
How do you feel about eating pizza with a fork? I do that.
If it's hot, then that's okay. But generally, no. And if I can avoid it, I try to, because I don't want to say it ruins the pizza experience, but by and large, it changes the pizza experience a lot. Meejamara97 asks, do Sagan or Kepler ever bite or scratch? I'm assuming this is probably in relation to, like, you know, people. Do they ever bite or scratch people?
Not on purpose.
Yeah. In fact, never. Actually, never on purpose. I think we tried to enforce that from a young age, though. Like, anytime they would ever, you know, want to play like that and, like, grab people and, like, bite them. Well, not people, but us, because we were the ones that were around them. We scolded them immediately, like, no. And we tried to ingrain that into them, and now they don't do it. They'll bite the snot out of each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, they'll take each other down. They'll, like, practically ride on each other. But they don't do that to people. And they don't scratch people. They know that that's not what they do. You're not supposed to act that way towards humans. So they don't, which is really nice. They do scratch us unintentionally from time to time, just because they're, you know, they do have their claws, and
Sagan likes to ride on your back, and sometimes he slips around.
Yeah, and it's hard to, I don't want to say it's hard to keep their claws trimmed, because it's not. It's just, I don't think about it, you know? It's like, if you go...
You don't think about it until you get scratched.
Yeah, if you go 7 to 10 days, those claws are all the way back. I mean, especially Kepler, because Kepler is always sharpening his claws. So you gotta be careful, but never intentionally, no. bloojae asks, when's the right time to buy the Wii U? Also, as a side note, I almost always take people's questions and reword them for brevity's sake. The question was essentially, if you had never been given a Wii U, because obviously in our case we already have the Wii U, but if you hadn't been given the Wii U by Emil, when would you have bought it?
Smash Brothers.
Probably Smash Brothers. In my opinion, as it stands right now, there is not enough good stuff going for the Wii U to buy a Wii U. I mean, that's how I feel. The only exception would be if you were, like, super into, like, Mario Kart Wii. You were, like, a huge Mario Kart Wii fan, and you wanted to just kind of move on up to Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 is a fantastic game. Like, it's really good. So if that was it, then maybe. Or if maybe you were just, like, I don't know, just a really super die-hard Nintendo fan. And they exist, certainly. This is the internet, I'm all too familiar. If you're a super die-hard Nintendo fan, and you're like, I'm gonna play Pikmin, and I'm gonna play, you know, whatever the other first-party games are, Game Wario, and I'm gonna replay Wind Waker, and I'm gonna do all this stuff, I wanna play all of them, then okay, sure. But for, I guess, an average video gamer who, like myself, is kind of looking at the broad spectrum of all the different kinds of games, it wouldn't interest me enough to buy one right now. Yeah. We're a special case because we were doing a Mario Kart LP, so we might have picked it up to continue the LP, but had we not been doing that LP, I don't think we would have got, or even considered one until Smash Brothers. So, I think that's fair. If you have children, how involved will they be with the vlog? What's your comfort level in regards to their privacy? From littlemiss Link. And this is a question that I scaled down a lot because she actually wrote probably a paragraph, and it was a good question. It was kind of in relation to, like, other vloggers who have kids, which there's a lot of them. Obviously the biggest one is probably Shaytards. Their family is the vlog, and they've even had kids on the vlog. So how would we handle that, basically?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a weird question because I don't have kids, but I know...
You haven't really been around them either.
And I'm not often around children. I'm just not, especially young children. I'm just not around them, and it's a weird experience every time I am. I feel like I do okay around them, but it's weird for me. Like, I'm like, what are you? What do I do with you? So as far as, like, filming stuff, I feel like I would. I feel like I'd still be very involved in filming things, because one of my favorite aspects of the vlog has been being able to go back.
The documentary.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to go back and be like, oh man, this is exactly how it happened, and you know, there's video evidence of whatever. It's so cool to see that. So I feel like I would be filming a lot of stuff, but I'm sure there would be limits, you know. I don't think it matters as much when they're really young. I mean, everyone's got home videos of them doing this and that and whatever, and it's like, that's not embarrassing to a kid. Obviously, when they get to a certain age, that's when it probably becomes an issue, because they have friends or whatever, and they're like, you're on that stupid video that your dad does. Like, that would be an issue. But that, in one sense, it's like, that is so far down the road don't even know if vlogging or YouTube will even exist at that point. So thinking about that in that regards, I'm like, maybe it's not a total concern. But I don't know how I'd handle it. I think I would probably film a lot, though. It's just once they get to, like, I don't know, like 8, then I'm like, all right, hold on. But then maybe they'd
want it.
Yeah,
maybe they'd be like, film me on the swings and film my first grade play or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Although at the same time, I mean, children that are 8 years old don't have the mental capacity to understand the gravity of putting an event that they do in front of several thousand people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My answer is essentially I have no idea. Anyway, what do you want in a house? From Super Luma 64.
2 sinks.
2 sinks
in the bathroom.
Man, we have a laundry list. There's a lot of other questions that were like, when are you going to get in the house? Because right now we're in an apartment. We were in an apartment in Columbia. We just completed our 2nd year here, and we're going to do another year. But we have been thinking more and more about going to a house just because we'd like a little bit more room.
And a garage.
We'd like a garage. We'd like to not be sandwiched between people. We're on the 2nd floor, and we're between people and being in the situation where we have to record things.
And sometimes it's very late.
Yeah, I mean, we have to record things to make a living. Sometimes we get a little loud, and we don't want that to be an issue, you know? We don't want there to be people around that can hear everything we do, or get upset that we are loud. So we do want to get a house. We just don't know when it's going to happen because it's an issue of money and also convenience. Like, moving sucks. Moving is the worst. Like, anyone that has had to move, especially a great distance, understands that it's so awful. It takes so long to pack everything and then move and then unpack everything, and it's such a problem. So I don't know that we'll be moving this year. I think that would be a little insane. But in 2015, I think it's something that could potentially happen, or at least we'd be looking into a lot more. But that's not the question. The question was, what do you want in a house? 2 sinks in the bathroom.
I'd like a screened-in patio still.
Yes, that's a must. Seeing how much the cats have enjoyed it, like, have to have a screened-in patio because they love that thing. They'll go out there every single day. Deeper sinks in the kitchen. The sinks that we have in the kitchen are so shallow, and from my experiences with those, and then also being at other people's house that have really deep sinks, I'm like, oh my god, I want a deep sink so bad, because like you start to wash something and it's splashing all over your face, and you're like, who thought this was a good idea? So I definitely want that. The screened-in patio. I think that's like my biggest thing, though. Is like the deep sinks and the screened-in patio. There's probably some other
garage.
stuff.
To put our bikes in.
I would love to live in an area that had faster internet available, but the fact of the matter is we have the fastest internet available in all of Myrtle Beach. I mean, they don't make it fast. Well, that's not true.
They have fiber.
They do have fiber, but we're currently not in a position to get it. Like, the apartments behind us can get it, but we can't get it because they don't have a line run to us. So I guess we'll get fiber whenever we move, but that would be a thing too. Like, obviously internet speed is important if you're uploading, you know, several hundred gigs of content a month. So yeah, I think that's it. I mean, otherwise, just a nice place to live, a nice neighborhood, I think is kind of an obvious thing, and something that is a nice price. But I don't know. Otherwise, I'm not picky.
Yeah.
Maybe a green room, like where a sunroom. That's what they call it. A sunroom. That'd be kind of nice. Alright, getting too specific. Anyway, next up is a super incredibly important question, and you need to take this very seriously, Mal. The next question: Lay's or Ruffles?
Kettle cooked?
Oh, well, I mean, that's we buy kettle cooked chips because we prefer kettle cooked chips above everything else, and those are we buy the Lay's brand. But I'm assuming the question is original Lay's versus Ruffles. But I don't know, they're fine. Like, they're both, I don't know, they're both chips. I will go off on a small tangent and say I freaking love chips. I will put just an original chip nice salty chip, I'll put that sucker down. It's
Put
actually...
the whole bag down.
That's what I meant. My favorite, you know, one that's widely available everywhere is probably Wavy Lays. If I'm going through the store and only the big name brands are available, you know, the big stuff, I'll probably grab that. I would grab Wavy Lays over Doritos any day.
No.
I know you're a Dorito person. And I like Doritos, I do. Cool Ranch is great, but I feel like, given the option, I would probably grab Wavy Lays because they're good. But I like Ruffles, and I like Original. Hello, cat. My favorite chip ever, though, is Grandma Utz's.
I know you like that.
I love Grandma Utz's. It's not only because it's really freaking good, because they are, they're kettle cooked chips and they're really good, but it's also nostalgic because my grandfather had them in his house all the time. So eating them kind of reminds me of being in his house, and I like that, obviously. But they're also really freaking good. Like, if you ever get the chance to have Grandma Utz's chips, get them, because they're so good. What's your favorite chip? Doritos?
I don't know. It goes back and forth.
Because do you honestly like Doritos? Do you honestly like Doritos more than you like kettle cooked chips?
I don't know. Depends what I'm feeling like that day.
I mean, I like Doritos a lot, but I feel like at any point in time, I would just automatically take the kettle cooked salted chip. Like, oh my god.
Salt and pepper.
Yeah, I mean, I like salt and pepper. I like the regular ones too, but we're talking too much about chips. Anyway, did that solve that question? Kind of, maybe. Lay's wins. The Dilber30 asks, what scared you as a child?
Dark.
Dark. You have a nightlight?
No. Well, in the bathroom, which was down the hall.
Oh, I had a nightlight. I don't remember how long I had it, but I remember having a nightlight. Although, at the same time, nightlights back then, well, I say back then, but I'm assuming now also, are pretty cool. Like, they weren't just, it was just a thing. Like, they would put, like, characters and stuff on them, so you could have, like, the Mickey.
Had the plain ones.
You could have, like, the Mickey Mouse or whatever. I wasn't into Mickey Mouse, but I don't know what I had. You know, I do actually remember at one point having a basketball one. It was a nightlight, but it had a basketball, and it would kind of glow orange, which was really neat. So those are cool. I forget what the question is. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, what scared you as a child? The dark a little bit, but my biggest fear, which is very funny because I'm a big dude. There's a lot of me going down the drain. Like, just balls to the wall, flew off the handle, scare me to death. Whenever, you know, the bath was done, we pulled up the drain. I was like, ah! 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 You know, just completely frightened that I was going to die. And my parents were always like, Steven, you know, look at this rationally. Them holes are this big, and you are much larger. I'm like, oh my God. So that was apparently my biggest fear.
I didn't like the basement, but that's part of like the dark.
I didn't have a basement.
I know.
There are no basements in the South, so don't know what that's like. But I imagine that would probably be really scary for me. I
mean, there'd be times we'd be down there, like, sleepover in the basement, and the sump pump would go off, and, like, this grinding noise is terrifying.
You know, I do remember being very young and, like, I wake up in the middle of the night having to pee, and being, like, mortified of, like, oh, God, I'm gonna have to, like, get up and go down the hall in the dark where the monsters are. And now that seems ridiculous, but you know, it's kind of weird. Like, every once in a while, it must just be an inane human instinct that we have from generations ago, like being scared of the dark. Because even now, like, if I have to get up or do something, like in the middle of the night, you hear a noise and you got to get up and investigate, there is still that tension, you know? There's still, even though I'm older and it's like, well, that's stupid, there are no monsters, like, there's still that tension of, like, it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Anyway, last two funk, two druck, one. Glad I read that right. Your dad's name is Steve. Were you named after him? Yes. My dad's name is actually Steven. But everyone, as far as I know, has always called him Steve. I was under the assumption that he was Steven, and then when I came along, people started calling him Steve, but I think it was just always called Steve. But his name is also Steven, so I'm Steven George, he's Steven George, but I'm not a junior because we have different middle names. the more you know. And finally, the last question, which is one to surely start a fight. Ayyoob Berhane, or Berhane, I don't know. Who is better at video games?
Depends which kind.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
I'm terrible at Resident Evil.
I mean, you really are. I've been watching, it's one of those things, because there's two screens, whenever we're playing Resident Evil, I'm obviously paying attention to my own screen, and I don't catch everything that Mal's doing. And then I go back and post, and I can actually watch. I'm like, dear God, Mal, what are you doing?
Aren't you reloading? You have one bullet left.
Yeah, although I have to yell at you for every video game. I'm always like, reload, reload. Make sure that when we go into a situation, you're not like... you know, trying to reload everything. But there was one part in Resident Evil where I just actually, before that recording, I told Mal, I was like, all right, you gotta make sure that we'd shoot them in the leg, run up and press the button to make sure we kick them or whatever. Or if they're on the ground, you can run up, hit the button so you don't have to use your ammo.
But I don't want to get too close.
Mal shoots an enemy. They fall down on the ground.
I like to see if he's getting up.
They're not dead, because if they were dead, they dissolve. She's sitting there waiting, and it's on the ground. She starts shooting it in the head on the ground with her machine gun. And I'm thinking, if you just walk over, press the button, the thing's dead. Instead, nope. Using up like 50 rounds.
I didn't want to get close.
They can't hurt you. When they're on the ground, they don't even do anything. Anyway.
So what games am I better at?
It's always been said Mal's been better at puzzle games, which is true. Mal's better at puzzle games than I am. I'd say probably, I don't know. You're really good at puzzle games. You're really good at anything that involves critical thinking, and I think you're better at that than I am. But also, I tend to talk more, and I think that detracts a lot from my ability to resolve problems on screen, because there's times I'm watching stuff in editing and I'm not getting whatever it is that's going on, but in editing I'm like, oh my god, that's obvious. And to the viewer it's very obvious, because they're not playing a game. They're not playing a game and trying to talk at the same time, so it's a very different experience. But also, you're just better at that than I am.
Thanks.
I'm better at platforming.
Not by a whole lot.
Better at jumping in games.
Okay, yeah.
Because you've jumped off cliffs many a time and killed yourself, and I'm like, just jump. You just gotta jump. But for every time that you've jumped off a cliff and killed yourself, I have stared blankly at a puzzle and been like, I have no idea. And Mal's like, you just turn this knob, and I'm like, oh, I don't get it. So we have pros and cons. But I think they balance each other out pretty well, and it works out in the end.
Yes.
Anyway, that is it. I think this was actually a little longer than I thought it'd be, but good.
You talked about chips too long.
I did. I really did. That's all right. The people that watch Q&As, I feel like, appreciate the fact that they are sometimes a little bit longer. Like I said, we're going to try and get the next video out sooner. More than likely, we'll release it at the beginning of the August vlog, so it's not that it's just going to come out in 4 days or whatever. It's just whenever we get the vlogs out to the point where
August.
Yeah, like it'll come out like it should have. It'll just be a little late or something like that. So I think that's the way we'll do it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for another Q&A, and be sure to put all your questions down below. We'll see you guys next month, which is actually a lie, for another Q&A.